Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them. The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time.
If you believe U.S. Attorney Damian Williams, and I do, in the reports, there are at least 50 witnesses that the feds have spoken to, and I bet that some of those were participants in the sex act.
Now, will Diddy start snitching?
Prove it up.
Yeah, you better.
But based on the lifestyle and what he's done and what he's accomplished, if he had to go behind those bars for a lot of years, I think that he may commit suicide.
Diddy has been rubbing elbows with the rich and famous for decades. As one of the most powerful figures in the music industry, Diddy has close relationships with countless celebrities and influential individuals. But now, with serious legal allegations surfacing, many are wondering just how deep his connections go and how many people the feds intend to take down with him if he tries to make a deal with prosecutors. The U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York recently revealed an indictment accusing Combs of hosting and videotaping days-long sex parties involving women and male sex workers. According to the indictment, these tapes weren't just for his personal collection, they were allegedly used for blackmail. Diddy reportedly used the videos to maintain control and influence over the people who participated in these freak-off parties. Now, as the investigation into Diddy continues, many are asking, could these tapes hold damaging information on some of the rich and famous?
Let me say a little bit more about the charges. The indictment alleges that Combs abused and exploited women and other people for years, and in a variety of ways. As alleged, Combs used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual performances with male commercial sex workers, some of whom he transported or caused to be transported over state lines. Combs allegedly planned and controlled the sex performances, which he called freak-offs, and he often electronically recorded them. The freak-offs sometimes lasted days at a time, involved multiple commercial sex workers, and often involved a variety of narcotics, such as ketamine, ecstasy, and GHB, which Combs distributed to the victims to keep them obedient and compliant. As alleged, when Combs didn't get his way, he was violent, and he subjected victims to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse so that they would participate in the freak-offs, and that Combs hit, kicked, threw objects at, and dragged victims, at times by their hair.
Former federal prosecutor Nima Rahmani to explore just how serious these allegations are. Rahmani discussed whether Diddy could have the kind of damaging info on influential figures that would make this case even bigger. He noted that if Diddy does have blackmail material on celebrities or other high-profile people, it could drastically change the direction of the case and make things more complicated for everyone involved.
I do, and I'm here in Hollywood, and Diddy's parties were notorious and one of the worst kept secrets in Hollywood. If I were one of those rich and famous celebrities and I participated in these sex acts, I would be very concerned. I would be talking to a lawyer. At best, I'm a witness. At worst, I'm a co-defendant. And I thought that the feds were actually thinking about potentially charging others, and that's why it took 6 months to arrest and indict Diddy, but it turns out that wasn't the case. But if you believe U.S. Attorney Damian Williams, and I do, in the reports, there are at least 50 witnesses that the feds have spoken to, and I bet that some of those were participants in the sex acts.
Do you see the feds going through those videos and identifying the people in them and seeking them out, in particular if they are wealthy and famous people, and saying, okay, do you want to be a witness or do you want to be a co-defendant?
I think they are, and I think they should. Obviously, very different case, but one of the criticisms of the Jeffrey Epstein investigation is that The rich and famous people that participated in the sex acts were never brought to justice.
Adding fuel to the fire, a new video has emerged showing Diddy being arrested from the Park Wyatt New York hotel. In the footage, the once untouchable music mogul is escorted by law enforcement, a shocking sight for someone who once appeared to be invincible. As Diddy's legal troubles mount, the pressure seems to be taking a toll on him.
This morning, watch how federal agents took Sean Diddy Combs into custody. He's seen in this video entering the Park Hyatt Hotel in Midtown Manhattan with others when agents from Homeland Security Investigations approach and separate him. They place Combs under arrest and lead him out the front door in handcuffs. His lawyer said Combs had come to New York 2 weeks earlier with the intention of turning himself in. He did not expect the agents to be waiting at his hotel last Monday night.
Why doesn't the government want him to turn himself in? Because then they can't ask for detention. So they go and they arrest him. They arrest a guy who came to New York to turn himself in.
Reports have now surfaced that Diddy is on suicide watch. The stress of facing these accusations, combined with the potential exposure of his darkest secrets, is evidently wearing him down.
According to several reports, Diddy has been placed on suicide watch at the Metropolitan Correction Center in Brooklyn. The music mogul's mental state is unknown, but being placed on watch is considered to be a preventative measure. This week, 2 different judges denied his request for a $50 million bond. His lead defense attorney is attempting to move him to a different facility in New Jersey as he awaits trial. TMZ is reporting that due to his celebrity status and the allegations, this could bring unwanted attention from other inmates and be a threat to Diddy.
What we've been told by a former warden is he's a target.
Gene Deal, a former bodyguard of Diddy, recently described what life behind bars might be like for the music mogul.
It's the #1 cause of death statistically in the prison system. In order for him to get on suicide watch, he just can't say, I'm gonna commit suicide. You know, that helps. But he has to go through he has to have a psych evaluation. He has to, the correction officer, they had to monitor him and see what he has, you know, we've been doing. Has he been crying all night? You know, those are some of the criterias. You know, saying that you're gonna commit suicide, crying all night, doing some kind of self-mutilation or trying to harm yourself, because everybody think because you were on suicide watch, you're in a good situation. Once they put you in suicide watch, bruh, you gotta go to a cell, like a padded cell, by yourself with very little or no clothes on.
Deal, who has first-hand knowledge of Diddy's lifestyle, believes that the situation is bleak. He claims that the idea of being locked up is something Diddy could never accept, especially considering his wealth, status, and what he's been used to for decades.
When I heard I wasn't surprised. You know, somebody who lived in mansions, travel all over the world, somebody who could go into any hotel, have any and everything at his beck and call. Now he's in a room that's a 10 by 10, if that, a cell. Bruh, if he was gonna commit suicide and he was on the outside during those city college days, just imagine what he's gonna do or try to do while he's in prison and he don't have his cell phone, he don't have no maids, you understand?
Suge Knight, Diddy's old rival and founder of Death Row Records, has also weighed in on the scandal. Knight claimed that Diddy is not the only one to have put younger artists through humiliating sexual acts.
Most important thing is there's got to be a solution, because this has been going on in the industry for a whole bunch of years, for decades. And at the same time, you know, nobody wants this to be true, and it shouldn't have to be true. But if we don't fix it and do something about it, history will constantly.
He pointed out that these practices have been going on for decades and that Diddy was simply continuing a long-standing tradition within the music industry. Suge's comments raise an important question. Just how many other influential figures might be involved in similar behavior, and will they be exposed next?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. I think he repeat what was done to him. And like I said, if you look at Russell Simmons, you know the truth. Andre Harrell, you know the truth. Clyde Davis, you know the truth. Jimmy Iovine, you know the truth. So there's not certain things that all of a sudden you got this. The industry is a quick business. It's been like that for a long time. And the casting couch is real, but it's for women and men. But far from all that, I think the most important thing is I feel like they should let Puffy tell his truth. I'm quite sure he's going to expose a lot of people. I'm sure he's going to move forward with it. But I don't think it should be a situation like the Epstein thing where they found him hanging from the ceiling or dead before the truth come out.
Interestingly, Knight's claims are similar to what Gene Deal also said. He stated that Diddy was not born a monster. He was simply a product of those who groomed him in the industry. And before anyone thinks they are justifying his actions, it's important to note that these two have been speaking against him for years.
Just tear his whole life down, but it's all because of his mentors and the people that trained him and taught him the music business. You know, it's all about the people who trained and taught him the music business, because Puff wasn't he wasn't born a monster. You know what I'm saying? He was made into a monster, brother. Do you understand what I'm saying? He was made into a monster from the stuff that happened to him, the things that he had to do. You understand? The things that he had to do to become who he is. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's like this, brother. You never like something so much that you can't do without, and you never be willing to do anything to get where you want to be at. You got to have principles, you got to have morals, you got to keep with that stuff. And in that music business, a lot of that stuff get thrown out the window.
Meanwhile, attorney Trey Lovell, who has been closely following the case, believes that while more charges are likely to be filed against Combs, it's unlikely that prosecutors will charge additional people at this point. Lovell is among those who think that Diddy, rather than anyone else, is the primary target for federal authorities.
Yeah, he is. And it's interesting. You know, I was surprised that I had said before why more people weren't charged initially, because, you know, when you have a racketeering claim, it's an enterprise and involved people. He's the sole target. He may continue, you know, as these other crimes and allegations, you know, start to come around. They may be included in the existing indictment, in the existing charges against him, but it's still really up in the air whether or not they're going to charge anybody else. You know, if there are some high-level celebrities, some people that may be worth going after, you know, they may include that, but I'm just not so certain they're going to add defendants. They want him and they want his companies. I mean, they have a forfeiture provision. They want his assets, property. They want to destroy him. So it's clear that he's the main target. Whether or not they have other ones, I just don't really know.
However, not everyone agrees with this. Gene Deal believes that federal investigators aren't just after Diddy. They're also targeting high-profile politicians, including the mayor of New York, who might appear on the infamous Freak-Off tapes. According to Deal, these tapes could contain shocking revelations about people in power, which is why the feds are digging so deep into the investigation. If Deal is right, this case could explode, taking down not just celebrities but political figures as well.
But all this is bigger than Diddy. It's bigger than Diddy, bro. Because you know who else they was doing investigation on during that whole time period? It was the mayor and the politicians in New York City. They turn around and give him the key to the city. All the mayor people that he brought on here in New York City are all resigning. They all resigning. People ain't gonna tie this together, but if you look at it, you have to say, because of Mayor Adams and his relationship with Diddy, it brought on the Southern District of New York to start investigating Diddy on civil lawsuits that was put against him.
Deal also mentioned that if Diddy wants any chance of reducing his sentence, he might have to reveal some famous names to get a plea deal. However, even if he starts naming names, Deal estimates that Diddy would still face at least 20 to 25 years in prison. The severity of the charges against him is so substantial that cutting a deal with prosecutors might not spare him from a long stint behind bars.
Now, seems like the tables is turning. If these people have it this their way, he's gonna be spending the rest of his life in the prison system. He better hope that they want to make a deal, but I don't think so, or they want somebody else. He better hope, and he got something to offer them. Even if he got something to offer him, you gotta realize, bruh, like, you got drug kingpins, you got drug dealers, you got people who make deals, there's murders and killers. They make a deal and they still get 25, 30 years in the feds. He's about 55 years old. If he do 15 years, that's 70 years when he come out, he's 70 years old. He may not want to live like that. And then what he coming out to at 70 years old? He'll still have probably a little money to do something, but not to do nothing. So that's what he's looking at, bro.
Jaguar Wright also believes that Diddy will eventually have to start snitching on other people to save himself. Of course, she's always been clear that she has a long list of people she thinks should go down with Diddy.
So let's just keep it a buck. Let's keep it a bean. Stevie J should be charged. Mary J. Blige should also be charged. Jennifer Lopez should definitely be charged. Should I keep going?
I mean, you're hitting it on.
Jay-Z should be charged. Khaled should be charged. Rick Ross should be charged. Usher should be charged and tried with him. Off of Justin Bieber alone.
Now, Carisha and Rick Ross just sat down together in an interview.
Yeah, I know. Two Diddy doo-wop bops. What a reunion.
Gene Deal, who has spoken at length about Diddy's personality, believes that the music mogul simply cannot imagine himself in prison. Deal has suggested that Diddy would rather take his own life than face a long prison sentence.
It takes a certain individual to prepare himself to do a lot of years in jail. From the lifestyle that he had, I'm not saying that he can't. I just don't see him able to do time behind bars. Maybe if he be in a camp type situation, that's a possibility. But based on the lifestyle and what he's done and what he's accomplished, if he has to go behind those bars for a lot of years, I think that he may commit suicide. He'd do an Epstein.
As this story continues to develop, one thing is certain: the fallout from Diddy's arrest could have long-lasting implications for Hollywood and beyond. But do you think we're going to see the cream of Hollywood take the stand, or will they all retreat to the shadows? Let us know what you think in the comments. That's it for now. For more updates, hit the bell icon.